Hey friends, Paulie Walnuts here, and I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to episode 6. I think you guys will be really stoked about my guest for this week. But before we get into the show, as usual, we are going to pause for the cause and thank all of our sponsors, starting with the first supporter of the podcast. That would be Maddox Decks. They're custom made and shaped skateboards by local skateboarder Dalton Maddox, 100% North American Canadian hard rock maple. The best damn decks you can ride, in my opinion. But don't take my word for it. Check him out yourself on Instagram at mad_ax_decks. That's MAD_ACTS_DECKS. Next, we'd like to thank Overcast Fishing Apparel. For anglers, by anglers, tattoo-inspired design. If you're a fisherman or into the fishing lifestyle, if you're into tattoos or the tattooing culture, this is the brand for you. You're going to want to check them out, and you won't be disappointed. You can look them up on Instagram at Overcast Fishing Apparel. All of the products are handmade right here in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. And finally, big thanks and shout outs to Pomeroy Woodwork and Design, family owned and operated business here in Jacksonville, Florida, specializing in traditional craftsmanship, custom design, cabinet making, crown molding and trim, furniture refurbishing and repurposing. You can hit them up with inquiries at pomeroywoodworkdesign@gmail.com, and you can check out their work on Instagram at Pomeroy Woodwork Design. That's POMEROYWOODWORKDESIGN. Now that we got all of that out of the way, super stoked about our guest that we have today. It's a very interesting, talented, and intelligent young woman, Miss Cassidy Ramos. She is the oldest daughter of Martin Ramos, and the Ramos family is the family that has owned and operated the historical Kona Skatepark for the last 40 plus years. So needless to say, she has had a pretty epic adventure in life thus far. She's a talented musician and a very talented artist as well. So without further ado, this is episode 6 with Miss Cassidy Ramos. It's Beyond the Pod.
You're listening to Beyond the Pod.
Yo, let's go.
You're listening to Beyond the Pod.
Hey guys, it's your boy Paulie, and I'm super stoked on my guest that I have today. It's the very talented Cassidy Ramos.
Hello.
She is an artist. She is the oldest daughter of the Ramos girls who own Kona Skatepark.
Right.
Multi-generational. I mean, that's got to be amazing growing up there. And yeah, so how are you doing, Cass?
Not too bad. How about you?
Doing great, doing great. So let's go ahead and talk about the early days of growing up at the skate park, because I first met you when I was a teenager, and you were a little girl, and so you've definitely seen many cool things come through the skate park. And what was it like growing up just in that environment?
It was pretty cool. I started working like behind the counter doing snack bar stuff when I was 11, I think. I had to stand on like a little soda crate to reach the cash register. Yeah. I don't know. I like learned a lot from other people. I like got to people watch a lot of like different personalities being up there.
Sure.
Because you know,
the
like
characters that come in there.
Yeah, skating is like therapy for people. So I get to see people come in like super aggro from a long day, and then they go in the park, and then they come out and they're like totally different. They're like, bye, have a great night, great to see you. And I'm like, but you just, all right,
Yeah.
have a good night. Yeah. So it's cool to see like apart from like meeting the cool people and the tricks, I really enjoy like watching what it does for people. It's like totally an outlet.
Oh,
so
completely.
yeah.
Yeah, no, you know, with the few skateboarders we've already had on, that's one thing we talked about, just kind of how much it really is therapy. And I think that's why a lot of people also struggle with, we're like, is skateboarding a sport? Is it not a sport? Because it is very much an art form, and for a lot of people it is very much therapy, but it is an athletic activity.
Yeah.
So
That's like a good thing though. It's like you're exercising your brain and your body.
Completely. I love it. So, you growing up at the skate park with your dad Martin and everything, got to see and experience some cool contests. I know you guys were running the Florida Bull Riders Cup and everything for quite some time. Do you have any cool memories that stick out from those adventures? Because you guys traveled around a little bit for that, right?
Yeah, we did. Florida Bull Riders Cup is actually like, they're some of the best memories I have from growing up at Kona, because it was wild. Like, we wanted to have something that was like trifecta over in Oregon, but for the East Coast. So the first, I think, 2 years we started it, it was 3 different contests, 3 different weekends, and a point series. So it all added up. So we were traveling to different skate parks all around Florida, and like staying in hotels with these crazy like old skater people that were like jumping off the roof into the pool and stuff. And yeah, and I'm like getting to miss school for it because I'm taking like all the scores and all the registration as like a teenager. So my dad definitely put a lot of trust in me for that. I was like running the behind the scenes. And my favorite part was that it was themed the first couple years. So like one contest was luau themed, so we made all the skaters like that were competing wear like luau stuff and 4th of July stuff. So, and I met people from all over the U.S. and people from out of the country started coming. Like Pedro Barros started competing as a young kid. Yeah, we let him skate the pro division so young, and he had a mustache drawn on in Sharpie, like for his run. Him and that kid Jordan Price from Daytona were like best friends, and so he was skating with Jordan and came to Florida Bull Riders Cup, and yeah, he just blew everybody's minds. And some other like cool people that came through were like Kevin Kowalski was competing, and Clay Kreiner grew up as like a little tyke, was like a Bull Riders Cup kid. He was definitely in the top 5 every year.
I actually just listened to Clay Kreiner on Andy Roy's podcast, the podcast, and he gave a shout out to coming down to Florida skating, and actually gave Tim Johnson a shout out.
Yeah.
Saying that when he was a young kid, that's who he wanted to skate with. So big shout out to both of those.
Yeah, that's cool. Tim definitely was a guy that a bunch of the little kids looked up to because he was super nice to all of them and stuff. Okay. There were a lot of cool older dudes that were role models for Bull Riders Cup. Like Jimmy the Greek was always there. He would bring younger kids from Clearwater up with him to skate the contest, and all kinds of.
He's an animal, dude. He skates full throttle.
Yeah. He cheers the kids on, and he's like on the lip of the pool when the kids are skating. Like, go! It's so cool to see.
Yeah. Those are definitely some of my fondest memories of just attending skate contests, or some of the Florida Bull Riders Cups events I attended at Kona. Super fun time, and the format is always very exciting.
Yeah,
to watch, for sure.
That's all. My dad is like totally on that one. He like so good at planning those things.
Get enough credit in the skateboarding community, man. He really has done a lot of things to really kind of pave the way and help just keep skateboarding in a progressive path. Yeah. It's cool he's getting back up there and working up in the park and stuff. So that
more
actually,
things to come.
It makes me smile every time I walk in there.
He's like behind the counter with his button-up Kona shirt from the back in the day. Yeah, the old school one. That's cool.
When I was working there as a teenager, and he was had first taken it over from your mom. He was wearing that every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kids always ask him. They're like, "Can we buy one of those?" So I think we're gonna do some of the like the mechanic button-up shirts. I don't know what they're called, but those are like the orange ones that we have. Those are like, people are like, do you have those in the shop? So
yeah, well, I think the whole workwear being kind of fashionable in skateboarding, it's especially on a lot of blue collar, there's a lot of blue collar tradesmen that are gnarly ass skateboarders.
They come from like welding in their outfit and skate at the park, and you're like,
so then the kids see it, and then it just kind of becomes part of the style, which is sick. So we'll switch gears from skateboarding a little bit, and we'll talk about college years. You went to Flagler, correct?
Yep. Yeah, I went to Flagler over in St. Augustine.
How was that? What was it like? What'd you major in?
I switched around a couple times like everybody does, but I majored in criminology and minored in psychology, and thought I was going to be like Clarice from Silence of the Lambs and interview serial killers, because
go work for the FBI.
Yeah, no, I wasn't Criminal Minds motivated, but I definitely wanted to hang out with somebody like Hannibal Lecter in my free time. So
Yeah, I feel you. You know, we got
Yeah.
that twisted side to our
yeah,
mind.
I would go back to Flagler if they had graduate school. I would be all on it. Like the professor, just like the whole vibe in St. Augustine in that school is
Super cool vibe,
yeah.
and the campus is gorgeous.
Yeah, Harry Potter. They always deck it out like that.
We went on one of our daddy-daughter skate days down in St. Augustine. I just took her, around Flagler and showed her, and that's where she's like, I want to go to college.
Yeah.
I want to go.
That's see,
Yeah.
she's in
And
there.
she actually, and then when she found out that that's where you graduated from, she was like, sold. And I know somebody that went here.
Yeah, no, she should do it. Little artist girl.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, and she's been thriving. And I can't believe she's finishing up 5th grade. I mean, dude.
Middle school, she's getting a locker.
Oh,
Better
my
make sure she
God.
knows how to use the combo lock.
Tripping me out, Cass. I can't believe it. I'm about to have a middle schooler.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But so after college, you decided to go on an adventure.
Yeah, degree under a palm tree. My mom was super. That's what was her quote for my trip. I went to Puerto Rico for like around a year.
How was that?
It was good. I learned a lot. I definitely learned a lot the hard way.
I think that's life in general, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it can be a lot more difficult
Yeah.
in another country.
Yeah. I had visited there a ton. I made friends with Ruby, and she was born and raised there, and so she would bring me down there to vacation with her, and I was like, man, I really want to experience living in another culture, and it's an American territory, so I don't have to buy like a passport and deal with all that stuff. And I knew people there, and I knew my way around, so it didn't seem as scary of an idea until I actually got there.
Yeah, and
I was like, oh, wait.
It is.
Yeah, I have to buy a car. So I buy a car, and then like 2 weeks into having my awesome car, we get pulled over, and our car's stolen.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, and it's like this big ordeal. My mom doesn't know this, I don't think.
Sorry,
But yeah,
Lori.
so the car gets taken away, like license plate and everything, and I'm working for this like taken by the police, get a ticket for having a fake, it's called a morbete, and it's like their registration, but it's on the windshield. So it was a motorcycle cop, and he could see it was like fake, which I had no idea.
Right.
So that's how they figured that out. And so I have no car, and I have no way to get back to where I was living. So I called my boss, who's like owns all of these like surf rentals and surf lesson things. His name's Albert. And he came, and he got the car in the middle of the night and drove it back, like took it from them, from where the police station is, like super Puerto Rican, like did whatever he wanted. He's like, no, we're getting your car back. And I was like, no, they took it, like the license plate and everything. He's like, no, we're getting your car back. And I was just like,
that's epic.
okay. But I obviously had to buy another car because, they already was on like the lookout then,
Yeah, sketchy. You can't be riding around in a hot vehicle.
Yeah, so one of my many lessons was to learn the proper registration and stuff, because obviously not everything's the same.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that'd be easy for one of those things, and many things you're trying to think about to kind of overlook. And just be
yeah.
like, oh, I just got a car, let's go.
I was stoked. I was like, okay, now I don't have to walk down a mountain every day to get to work. I can drive there.
Yeah.
But yeah. But it was cool. The culture's totally different and like very family oriented, and getting invited over to people's house in the first 20 minutes I met them for dinner was cool, I guess. There it's cool. Here I'd be like, no. Like, yeah. But so it was definitely cool. I definitely want to spend some more time there in the future. So we'll see.
I look forward to being able to finally visit, my fiance.
Yeah.
She is Puerto Rican, and it's been a while since she's been back. My heart goes out to the people of Puerto Rico with all these tragedies. I mean, it's hurricane after hurricane, now earthquake after earthquake.
Earthquakes everywhere, yeah.
I mean, it's just, they can't catch a break. So, unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'll be able to visit anytime in the near future, but it's definitely going to happen soon.
Yeah.
And I know there's like this epic like bowl right on the beach with like a shark painted in it.
Oh, yeah, there's so many more skate parks than you would think that there are, and they're cool. I'll draw you a secret map.
Yeah, I would definitely do that because because I would need to know where everything is, because that would definitely be on my bucket list to hit those spots.
There's so many cool concrete parks there. Like, there are a lot of like concrete flow areas and stuff, and some really gnarly skate parks that you're like, who's skating this? Like, kind of thing. So it's cool. Like, they just had I think one of the Paneros, I think Steven just won. They had like a cup, like a Puerto Rican thing, contest. I mean, down there. Yeah. Okay, and so he went down and he won. I'm pretty sure it was at this park. I don't want to say it wrong, but it's like Caber Diaz, I think. And it's a really cool park. I've only been to it once, but it's like a big flow bowl.
That's so amazing, you know, that just
out in the middle of the mountains.
Skateboarding has just reached the far reaches of the world. It really has.
It's everywhere.
It's crazy. It's amazing seeing and hearing and learning about like all the different cultures, adaptations. Like, I know Japan's got a big DIY scene, and they like love Jason Jesse and the whole, like, you know,
the people they pick as their like big celebrities is really funny to see.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, and it's fucking rad.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, you know, skateboarding. Just thinking about my early days at Kona, which, you know, some people know, a lot of people know, I started off inline skating.
Yeah,
you know,
I forget that all the time.
You know, I moved down from Pittsburgh, and I was playing hockey, and I grew up snowboarding, and so it was just, and that was like 1998, inline skating was huge. So it was like for the first like year and a half I went to Kona, I was pretty much only inline, and then I started skateboarding, and then it was, then finally it was just, my heart was in skateboarding.
Yeah.
I think my ceiling of potential was a lot higher with probably inline skating.
Inlining looks scary. We're about to have that powwow contest back again in March.
Really cool event.
Yeah, and I'm excited because honestly, some of the coolest contests I've seen at Kona have been rollerblading, because they do crazy stuff that I could never imagine myself doing. And like, I've seen a lot in skateboarding, so when they do like crazy stuff, I'm like, see, there's a surprise. Like, so I'm excited. We got people calling looking for skates all the time, and I'm like, I don't know.
Well, it's definitely starting to have a little bit more of a resurgence in the States. But it's definitely internationally, I think it's still pretty big.
Yeah.
And the quads have been big.
There's an event too, the Chicks and Bowls thing. Yeah, I remember Fallon.
Yeah, she does the quads now.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people don't know Fallon Heffernan was a local female professional inline skater.
Yeah, the nicest.
The X Games and all of that, and now she's into the quads, but she kills it. She rips.
She was a huge role model at Kona. There were a lot of female inliners at Kona that were my age, and she's not that much older than I am, but she was so nice and always was just like super inclusive and was like so outgoing. So
super cool. Definitely fond memories of skating with her. Dang, there was actually a lot of I'm starting to think back. There's a lot of dual sports back in the day. There was a lot of rollerbladers that skateboarded. I mean, even George Evans, old Instaramp George.
Yeah,
he used to rollerblade back in the day too. But I remember just the line of kids, even after when I did inline skate, I didn't really know the struggle that all of the older guys used to get on everybody about, you know, as far as the etiquette in the skate park. And then I started skateboarding, and it was like, oh shit, I was a little douchebag the whole time.
That's where the intro video at Kona comes in, where they're like teaches you the skate park etiquette, hopefully in the 5-minute video that it is, but nobody feel like nobody soaks it in.
No, honestly, even back then when we it was the whole orientation at the blue boards. You
have to read them.
Oh, you have to read them, and then the employee would have to like walk people through them. But I just remember I didn't even get it then. It was all of the old guys, and even when I was my first couple of times there on my inline skates, it was all the OG skateboarders. Honestly, at that park, they just teach all the kids, and that's honestly why it'll always be my favorite park, because going to any park you can go to any park and I don't know, it's just more community.
Yeah.
Like any park, you can go to any park and feel a community. I've just never really been able to pull up to any park and there's like rollerbladers chilling with skateboarders and BMXers chilling with skateboarders and, you know, wherever.
Yeah.
So kind of like, you know, it is at Kona on a regular basis. You know, definitely just kind of everybody puts any differences aside.
I think it's that family aspect and that
the hollowed
that fear
ground.
for Mima.
Oh yes.
Not fear, but utmost respect for Mima.
Yeah.
Grandma Ramos, Miss Ramos, Helen.
Yes, she
the Kona Queen.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Love Grandma Ramos. She taught me. I was just jokingly telling about, she taught me how to count money in new cash register and all that. And I remember she had her particular way of wanting to do it, and I remember just thinking of how I was going to screw that up just time and time again. But I eventually didn't screw it up anymore, and I learned. And I remember back then we had to wear all our pads, and the big thing was trying to hide the wrist guards.
Yeah.
And we would even cut the fingers off gloves and stuff like that, and try to be hip to where we just looked like we had something on, but they weren't really wrist guards. No. And she was so hip to it, and she was so stealth. Just when you thought, you'd be like, oh no, she's in the clubhouse, she's busy in the pro shop or something like that, and then next thing you know, she'd be coming around the J and be on top of you and be like, put your helmet on, put your wrist guards on.
The way she does it now is really cool, because she'll walk up and she'll do the shoulder thing to you, and she'll just be like, you need to spit out your gum. And then she'll keep walking and not even make eye contact with you the whole time, and you're just like, who said that? And kids are like, spit their gum out, buckle their helmet. And I'm just like, you don't even know who said that. But they knew, because they felt the presence of Mima.
Oh yeah. And
she's so funny.
Yeah, it's super amazing, to just see her still when she pulls up to the park, and it's
every day. She's there every day.
Nothing's changed.
Doesn't miss a beat. Yeah, she's so funny.
And
she's still
recognize her.
Yeah.
She'll just stop and give them hugs and talk to them, and
people come up every day. It's really cool, because older guys that she was actually the guidance counselor at Sandalwood, in case people don't know. So she was guidance counselor and Kona Skatepark enforcer for a lot of teenagers, and so a lot of guys that are dad age now, no offense Paul, they come up to Kona and they're like, man, I just really want to thank your grandma. She was such a big influence in me. She's the only person that cared enough to try and keep me in line and stuff. And so it's really cool to hear people that really looked up to her, because I really look up to her. So it's cool to see I'm almost sharing my grandma with so many people, because she was what people didn't have up there at Kona. Yeah,
no, completely. She has been a grandma to anybody that's walked through that door, for the most part. And there's been countless young people that she has helped through their formidable years and given second chances, and
so many.
And your dad as well. I always say the Ramoses, man, y'all are the kings and queens of giving second chances. My brother, not to put Alex on blast, but he got busted from shoplifting from the pro shop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I forget that.
I think he was a freshman in high school. He might have been a sophomore.
That's the age for it.
Yeah.
You got the money in your pocket and everything.
Yeah, just that teenage angst rebellion, even though he loved that place and was there all the time.
It's the thrill.
His brother and sister worked there. And, but yeah, he got busted shoplifting. But, you guys, anybody could have handled it a number of ways. Instead, your dad was just had to sit down with my parents and him, and was like, you owe me. And he cut the grass once a week for that summer.
Yeah.
And it turned my brother into one of the most trustworthy. That was kind of a little fork in the road period when I look back at my brother's life, where he was definitely hanging around some people, kind of influencing him to do that kind of rebellious stuff. And that was oh shit.
Yeah.
Cutting grass sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Cutting grass. It's that overcorrection. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just giving him a second chance, and then welcoming him right back he didn't mess up.
Some people that come to Kona on their 28th.
Yeah, I know, their 50th chance.
It's cool though. That's what skateboarding is all about.
Yeah,
and we're the only private park, so all the other skate parks don't have rules, so it's hard for people to be oh man, rules, but it's
and skateboarding is very much fuck the rules.
Yeah.
Kind of activity and sport in many ways, and it has that whole punk rock, street, mentality. So I get it.
Honestly, though, shout out to all the punk rock kids that come to the Kona shows, because they clean up the parking lot more than any older gentleman or anybody that comes to skate park does. They awesome. There and they have fun and they go crazy and then they clean. And I'm like, thanks.
That's awesome. When your dad first kicked that idea to me, I thought it was such an awesome idea because, like we were talking about earlier, you know, I had the Imperial, and that was kind of like a little sanctuary of where, you know, people could play music.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, and then for Kona to have that, and I think I was talking with Squirrel last time when the first show, and Little Abdullah, you know Little Abdullah?
Yeah.
Yes, and he, for those that don't, you know this kid, he is the most, like, reserved,
So shy.
quiet, soft-spoken, very polite and respectful kid. And he comes and he skates, but he pretty much keeps to himself. Now, some punk rock music came on that first show, and I didn't see that kid stop moshing until the music stopped.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, for a kid like that to have that outlet where he might not have been able to, you know, experience that or get that out in that kind of family atmosphere, safe atmosphere, you know, that's important.
Yeah, there aren't any like all ages venues, and it's like, it's cool because there's a lot of bands that are teens, and so they can't play at some of these venues. Like, I mean, they will definitely have like certain nights where they'll let them in because they're the band, but their friends can't come see them and all this other stuff. So it's cool to see that. And then it gets like the influencing kids that wouldn't have been able to go to a punk show, and they're like, man, I really like this. So I see like now it's actually so cool. There's a group of girls that go to La Villa with Scarlett, my little sister, and they're these middle school girls, and they come and they skate all day before the show, and they wear full pads and a helmet in the mosh pit, and they're in the mosh pit for every single band the whole time. They're eating pickles and hot dogs, and they're going in the mosh pit, and it's just so funny to see because they're like having the whole Kona experience, but like plus an extra little.
That's so great.
So
how about this insurgence of female skateboarding?
It's cool.
It's amazing. I love it. You know, because growing up skateboarding, always respected every girl that, you know, was a skater. But honestly, there were few and far between that actually attempted.
There were no girl contests. No.
Yeah. And a lot of them were, you know, were more or less hangarounds. And now I see, you know,
girls are skating. They're not like hanging. They're skating.
They're skating, And I remember like a year ago when I was, you know, still working at the park, and we had a couple, like 3 moms come in with their kids, and it was mostly daughters, but there was a couple sons in there, and they were, I think, from Charleston. They might have been. I think
they're Charleston families.
Yeah, and they came, but this was a mom kid skate trip. And I was like, how epic is that? Skateboarding has come so far and broken down so many barriers and walls that now moms are like, dads, you're staying home and carrying the fucking weight.
Yeah.
We're going on a skate trip.
The moms that skate with their kids too, like Weston and Buck and Chris, like they're so cool when they all come up and skate together. And there's a lot of families from Charleston that have been coming down to Kona. They have such a good like family skate scene up there. It's really cool. And like tons of girls. Oh yeah, there's so many parks up there and like backyard scenes and stuff, and everybody just is so nice that comes down there. So
right on. Well, we were talking about you know, the music going on at Kona and everything. You know, not many people know that you yourself play music.
Yeah, I do.
Play the guitar and you sing. And you're very talented.
Thank you.
When was the last time you played out?
I actually haven't played at a restaurant in like a year. I've been working so much, so I was playing a lot of like weeknight gigs at a few restaurants in here in St. Augustine, and ever since I started doing that flower stuff, my weekends have been like at the Riverside Arts Market. But
that flower stuff.
Yeah, so it's actually just been like a good outlet for me after work and stuff. Work's definitely something mental, but I actually just got my nails off so that I can be playing again, because my nails get so gnarly from doing resin, and so I have to do them to cover it up, so when I'm touching stuff on the table, people aren't like, oh my god, she has black stuff under her nails. So, and then I couldn't play guitar, so it's like I had to trade one or the other. So here I am, back. I was learning some stuff yesterday actually and getting real frustrated, so
yeah, you know, I feel you. It seems like every time I pick up a guitar, I'm always like, you know what, I'm going to do this more often. And then it lasts like 2 or 3 days, and then next time, like 2 months later, I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, you look at it on the wall and you're like, oh yeah, hey.
I'm like, damn it.
No, it's cool because like I'm around music so much, so it's like I don't feel like I'm like missing out on my music intake. It's just more that I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I could do this for a second.
What would you say your favorite genre of music is?
Oh, that's so hard.
Okay, well, yeah.
I just
throw out like your top 3 to 5 favorite artists. Doesn't matter what the genre is.
I play a lot of, like, obviously I'm a Fleetwood Mac girl, if you can't tell. Like Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac, and I love Black Sabbath's for some 2 really just like typical bands to throw out there, but you know. And then I like this band called the Wild Reeds. It's a group of 3 girls, and they all play different instruments for every song, and they do a lot of like harmonizing and stuff, and I don't know what genre I would put them in. It's almost like bluegrass, but not, kind of more mellow than that. But I definitely have been big into my folk and bluegrass like underground bands lately, so nice. Yeah.
Very sick. All right, well, let's you referred to that flower stuff. So let's talk a little bit about flowers and art, and obviously you've always kind of been a little flower girl, you know. Is that where did you get the idea to incorporate and do this kind of style of art with the flowers and the butterflies and such?
So the flower preserving is actually kind of sad, where I like learned it. My biological dad passed away when I was like 11, and my mom and my stepmom, I think, I don't really remember, but I was prompted to save some flowers from the funeral that I still have. And then I also had this flower crown for my birthday party, I think that same year, the year after that. My mom was like, oh, we can dry these out and save them. And like, what a cool idea when you're like little to be like, you can keep the flower, like they die. And so I always like was saving little flowers and stuff and having a garden, and I've just always been really drawn to that. My mom worked at a nursery when I was in grade school, so I think I just like was around somebody who really liked plants. So and then when I was in like my senior year of college, right before I moved away, I made a couple things for my friend Angela, and I framed a cockroach for her. And that's like her favorite. She loves the Metamorphosis by Kafka, so I had to frame a little roach for her. And then I moved away to Puerto Rico, and I saved a bunch of flowers when I was there. And when I came back, I became really good friends with Nico. We all know Nico.
Yep, shout out.
Yeah.
Nico Swabalicious.
And so I was like fully in this art scene, just going to stuff with her as just like as a friend. I had nothing to offer. I was just there, and hey, my dad owns a skate park. Let's do this cool art event, Color Me Kona. And so I'm surrounded by all these artists, and I'm like, well, I want to do something. Like, I feel like I'm just kind of like a groupie to all these people. Yeah. And so I was like, well, maybe I could just sell some of those framed things that I made for myself and for my friends. So I made a few things, and I was really encouraged by like all of the friends that I had made like through Kona when I moved back, and Nico and just everyone. And so then that's how I got started, like making more stuff and selling it all the time. And I got approached by the people at the Riverside Arts Market to sell stuff, and I just like thought it was so cool that they reached out to me to do that. And so I really got going. Yeah.
It definitely seemed like it's taken off.
Yeah, it's cool. I definitely enjoy doing it, and I've learned so much doing it, like even apart from plants, like resin work and just bugs and how to sell things to people. So it's definitely been interesting.
What's your favorite flower?
I really like pansies, but I just actually discovered a new favorite flower, and I don't know if it's called an anemone, but it's spelled like anemone, like anemone, like from Nemo. Because that's what I was saying to this flower guy. I was like, it's like anemone, like, and he's just staring at me like, but Bob's Builds, his girlfriend Jessie, she has a garden, and so she grew these from a seed, and he sent some with him for me to press, and I would like just fell in love with them. So they're my new favorite flower. Look them up, they're really cool.
Rad. Well, I just want to say thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find your art at?
I am Manic Botanic on Instagram with 2 C's at the end of Botanic, or you can just search Cassidy Ramos. And I'm Manic Botanic on Facebook as well, and manicbotanic.com.
Right on.
So it's all the same, pretty easy.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on, and I appreciate everybody for listening, and we'll catch you guys later.
See ya.
Friends, Lucy Walnuts here, thanking you for tuning into episode 6 of my dad's podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it and we're stoked you're listening. If you have any questions for my dad, Polly Walnuts, or wish to inquire about any advertisements, sponsorships, events, or bookings, please email my dad at polyonthepod@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in and subscribing. Peace and love. We'll see you next episode.